Hello everybody, it's the Warm. Welcome back to Steins. And as we left off last time, I have a sinking feeling that things are about to get complicated. And it's kind of funny. Before I started, you ever, you need to do something, but I don't know, either you're nervous about it or something, and you kind of just put it off for a while. And I kind of found myself doing something like that today, where I was thinking, okay, I gotta get back to Steins Gate, gotta record the next episode, and I was just kind of putting it off at times. I found something else to do, or just did something else, and I finally sat down and just said, okay, just, you gotta do it. It's time. So here I am. And what was it that got me feeling nervous? Well, this is the first instance where, well, I guess we've kind of done a double. No, this isn't correct. We've done another jump before finding out what was it our previous jump changed. And so there's two layers of nervousness now. And add to the fact that the two things we've done are both going much farther back in time than any of the previous experiments have been. And of course, Okabe has said he wants to make it his goal to devise some kind of way to more clearly understand what they're changing. But we're not there yet, of course, so we're still going in blind here. Now, of course, we still don't know what changed with the whole Lukaku situation, but somehow that has changed where the IBN 5100 has ended up. This, however, we're not going back as far. We're going only 10 years back instead of back to the 90s. We're going to the, April 3rd, 2000? And this is something that Ferris, or I believe her name is is it Akiha Rumiho? Where is it? Yeah, Akiha Rumiho. She sent something to her father. She decided not to tell us what it was, which is just great. The one guy who's going to be able to remember the changes, he doesn't get to know what, so, well, what's done is done. We're going to move on. But, yeah, I'm nervous. Because presumably, she is in a position of some influence, and presumably her father is too. What sort of changes could, or what sort of message could she have sent, and what would that message change regarding her father to then, because that could influence this whole area. Who knows what that could cause. Now maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just something innocuous. But I guess that's what we're going to find out today. I did have another thought, and I don't think this is the case, but here's the thought I had. I just thought I'd mention this. This goes back to the sort of talking about whether this is a single timeline or multiple timeline thing. Maybe this has already been cleared up, and I shouldn't have to speculate on this sort of thing. If there's anything particular I've missed regarding this, you can correct me or let me know. But I was just trying to think. So all these different sort of changes, and again, it may not work like this, but are they cumulative? That's to say, are we now in a world line where I guess it depends on how far back the changes go. But are we now in a world line where the change with Lukaku has happened, the Lotto 6 change happened, and this whatever this new change is, has all three of those past changes, has that all that occurred? Like, is it, or are we in a separate sort of timeline where only the latest thing matters? Again, I'm not sure that makes sense. Well, presumably, since the Lukaku thing was the farthest, that was the farthest back in time, presumably that change is still in effect, right? Then we have this change that is 10 years back. So that would certainly still... So that's obviously in effect. That's where we are now. We did see that last time, whatever the Lukaku change was, somehow... Not only did the IBN 5100 change location, it's not at the shrine, and it's not at our place, but it also changed where Moeka has been. Because when we did the Lotto 6 change, Moeka was it had turned out that Moeka did not visit our lab, and so she wasn't inducted as a lab mem. But after the Lukaku change, it is such that Moeka had been to the lab and presumably been inducted and all that sort of stuff. Although, again, the other lab mems don't have any memory of the IBN 5100, so maybe Moeka just visited, and of course, we wouldn't have had the IBN. Sorry, I feel like I've lost my train of thought just now. Yeah, I've lost it. Okay, let's just move on. Let's brace ourselves and see what's going on here. We're still in the apartment. That's good. We've had situations where, you know, Moeka disappeared, quote unquote, and people have moved around and things have moved around. But so far, in every jump, Okabe is exactly where he's in, the exact same location each time, which is kind of interesting. Oh, one thing more I will mention. I mentioned this in the comments, but I have started to write down, you know, those numbers that we see when the world line or timeline shifts. I have written them down, and one thing I want to mention is one of the numbers. Let me actually pull it up. One of the numbers. Yeah, okay, it was 0.571015. That number, let's see, which one was that? That was the Lotto 6 change. While we were in the Lotto 6 change, we had that discussion with Tidor, where he brought up convergence and all that sort of stuff. And he mentioned he had a device which can measure divergence, or the divergence value. And he told us the value, and it was 0.571015, which is the same number that we saw that changed. So, at least as far as I know, those numbers are showing our current divergence. But interestingly to me, the very first number that we ever saw, that was when we sent the Makisa Kurisu is dead message to Daru. The two numbers that we saw was the number it started out as is 1.130426, and then we went to 0.71024. So I guess the question is divergence to what? Because and Tidor talked about this. I think it's what would be the proper word? It's relative. It's not like it's an absolute. It's not like there's an absolute single original timeline, I guess. Rather, Tidor says it's divergence from whichever timeline he originally came from, I think, is what he said. So if that is the case, then the first number that we ever saw would indicate that the first view that we ever saw of Okabe, the one where we went to Dr. Nakabachi and where the satellite was on the roof, that would mean we were already in some divergent world line, I guess, is how you would phrase it. I think. Maybe I'm not getting that right, but that's what that's telling me right now. So yeah, we're currently in 0.49420, so I'm gonna need to try and write that out more clearly. Like, I need to say which one is the Lotto 6 one and which one's the Lukaku one, but I can do that some other time. Okay. Now let's get into this. Whew. Okay. As the dizziness fades, I exhale slowly and open my eyes. Alright, world. Show me your new form. Well, I'm glad you're excited, because I'm not. Man, I wish I knew what kind of mail Ferris would send. Yeah, that would be helpful. First things first, I'm still in her room. When I look out the window, the Akiba sprawl greets me. I scan the room.
それじゃあカードをオープン。
あわわ、またウイルスカード。まだまだ爪が甘いにゃ。ピンクカードは3枚取られたでしょ。ウイルスカードは3枚取っちゃったでしょ。まゆしいわね。絶対絶命なのです。
What are they doing? The three of them are sitting around a table playing some kind of game.
まだターミナルカードがあるじゃん。次のターンで一発逆転狙えるってマジで。
にゃふふ、今さら逆転は無理無理にゃ。ここでフェイリスはターミナルカードのウイルスチェッカーを使っちゃうのにゃ。さあ、マユシーの残りのウイルスカードはどっちかにゃ。
マジパネっすね、フェイリスターン。
ねえ、いいって、できれば2手3手くらい待ってほしいにゃ。ダメかにゃ。にゃ、フェイリスの真似してもダメにゃ。そんな。
Mayuri puts her fingers to both her eyes, as if to mime tears. Anyway, looks like they're playing Rynet Access Battlers. Huh, it happened again. Reading Steiner. I am the only person in the world who keeps his memories after the past changes. Ferris's D-mail worked. That's why the three of them are now playing a card game instead of waiting for Ferris to press the button. Ferris never even sent the D-mail. If I look at her phone, there won't be any record of it in her send history. And even if I demand that she tell me what she sent, she won't be able to answer, because the very fact that she sent it would have been erased. Or has been erased, excuse me. The only trace of the D-mail is in the recipient's phone. Namely, Ferris's father's phone 10 years ago. But that 10-year-old mail data was most likely erased long ago. So I don't think we can check. I have to figure out what changed the hard way. Let's start by looking for differences. Excuse me.
ハーフ、やっぱりフェリスちゃんは強いね。最初はマユシーもいい感じだったにゃ。素質はあるにゃ。でも、たとえの試合とはいえ、ディフェンディングチャンピオンが負けるわけにはいかないにゃ。それに、今度の大会では絶対に優勝するってパパとも約束したのにゃ。 その日まで誰にも負けられないにゃ。パパ？
Ferris nods happily.
もしフェイリスが優勝したら、パパは仕事中でも時間を作って絶対に祝福に来てくれるって言ってくれたのにゃ。
僕も全力で祝福したいわけだが、その日の夜は空いてるかい？
夜はパパと2人でお食事にゃ。
そう。
ね、決勝戦はラボのみんなで応援に行くね。ありがとにゃ。
決勝の相手ってバイラルアタッカーズとかいうコンビだったっけ？下馬評じゃノーマークだったのに、まさかフェイリスタンのライバルであるイディオナを任しちゃうとはな。フェイリスタンとイディオナのデュエルは毎回神がかってるから、今回も楽しみにしてたのに。
他のライネッターの試合は全然見てないんやけど、バイラルアタッカーズってそんなに強いのかにゃ。
フェイリスタンの敵じゃないよ。フェイリスタンは最強。フェイリスタンは神。
にゃーん、そこまで持ち上げられると照れるにゃ。
As I listen to their conversation, I feel a strange churning in my gut. Something's not right here. A voice whispers from deep within, deeper than reason. I play the conversation back in my head and soon realize the source of my discomfort. The Ferris I knew had never been to an official Rynet tournament. And yet now she's about to compete in the tournament finals. Which means she's been going to tournaments for a while. Is this the change that Ferris wanted to make? The sense that I'm getting, it's obviously related to her father. This might be off base, but the sense that I got, initial thought here, was that, was her father dead? And then she, because she's very instantly talked about how, she was going to go eat with her father, and her father was going to give her congratulations. And, there's nothing conclusive there, but I don't think we've ever heard her talk about her father before, have we? But, I don't know, that could be just wrong, so let's hear more of this. Or it could be something like this. Considering the recipient was her father, maybe he was strict and wouldn't let her go to tournaments. But is that a reason to change the past? Ferris is only 17 years old. It's not too late for her to start participating in tournaments. If there were an age limit to Rynet tournaments, that would be one thing. I guess it was just that important to her? At that moment, someone knocks on the door. The door opens halfway, and a middle-aged man appears. It's not the butler.
失礼。ルミホ、少しいいかね。
Oh, hello.
パパ。
Ferris quickly gets up and leaves the room.
ぐはー、フェイリスタンのお父様か。挨拶しておかないとまずくね。
フェリスちゃんのパパさんって社長さんなんだよね。すごいな。
Ferris soon returns, and she turns to us and puts her hands together in a gesture of apology. Man, I just had a premonition. Being the one guy who gets to remember through all the changes, isn't that kind of... I feel like it can almost be like something like a punishment or cruel or something. Because it's almost like you're getting left behind almost, or like you're not. How do I explain this? Like how much further are we gonna? I'm trying to imagine how many more changes is it gonna take before it starts to wear him out. Because I mean, I don't know, man. Okay. I might need to develop this thought a bit more. I feel like it's just a feeling right now. I don't have the words to describe it just yet. But Then she turns to us and puts her hands together in a gesture of apology.
ごめんにゃ。フェイリスはパパと出かけなくちゃいけなくなっちゃったにゃ。それじゃあ、マユシーたちはこれでバイバイさせてもらうね。
Like the whole well, okay. This is just one. We're at her house and it's just one conversation. So maybe I can't. It's just I was just thinking, you know, she's never talked about her dad at all in the time we've spent, you know, talking with her before this. But again, we're at her house and, you know, so clearly, you know, you'd think her dad would be at her house, you know, and so maybe that's why we just haven't seen him or heard of him before now.
フェイリスター、僕とのお手合わせは手取り足取りライネットの何たるかを抗議してくれるっていう約束は？
誰もそんな約束してないと思うにゃ。
ええ、そうですとも。言ってみただけだからな。
ダルク、フェリスちゃんを困らせたらダメなんだよ。ほら、オカリンも帰ろう。そういえば今日のはやけに静かだったにゃ。どうかしたのにゃ。
いや、
So
秋葉を高みから見下ろし、越に入っていただけだ。
I'm curious, what's the context for our meeting now? Because before it was, we're looking for the IBN. We talked to Ferris about it to confirm that the story from before was still right, and it was that she or her family or whoever donated the PC to the shrine. And then we asked her, Okabe asked her if she could help look for an IBN. And she said, okay, but you have to come here. And the reason why was because she wanted to do a time travel thing. So what's the context for us being here now, since, you know, they wouldn't remember doing the time travel thing? Is it going to be something innocuous where Ferris, instead of the time travel, maybe her price is like, well, let's play a card game or something? I don't know.
さすがオカリン、意味不明なり。
Ferris, her dad, and their butler sees us off. Her dad tells us to come visit again. Ferris's dad seems like a cool guy. He's not pompous like you expect rich people to be. The sun is setting, but there's still a crowd in front of Akiba Station. More foreigners than usual. People come from all over the world to buy electronics and otaku goods in Akiba, but it looks like the satellite is attracting some as well. Man, it's hot. Less than a minute outside, and I'm already drenched in sweat. Ferris's air-conditioned apartment was a little slice of heaven. I'd love air conditioning in the lab, but we don't have that kind of money. Anyway, how about some food? I turn around to ask Daru and Mayushi what they think. Mayuri's not there.
マユリはどこへ行った？
あれ、そういえば消えてる。
Uh-oh. Did Stardust Handshake activate again? I scan the area. There she is, walking casually toward the station. She's already about 50 meters away. I chase after her.
マユリ、どこへ行く？
ああ、オカリン。あのね、マユシーはこれからお家に帰るんだけど、中野に寄っていこうと思って。
帰るなら帰るとなぜ言わんのだ？
ごめんね。でもね、中野に行かなきゃって考えてたらね、そのこと ことで頭がいっぱいになっちゃったのです。
マユシの気配を消していなくなる能力は異常。
Mayuri does this a lot. She just wanders off without saying anything. That's a bit worrying. And just like Daru said, you never notice she's gone. So when you turn around and look for her, it's like she's vanished into thin air. Stardust handshake and sneaking fade. Why do her powers have to be so annoying?
そもそも中野に何の用があるのだ。
あのね、昨日アイソードの同人誌が出たんだ。
エロ？
でもね、絵師さんは甲賀ゆいさんなんだよ。マユシーは久々に本気出さなきゃって思って。
へえ、甲賀ゆいか。去年のガンバムのキャラデザっしょ。
Gunbam. Fictional short for Mobile Jacket Gunbam, of course. A seminal work of mecha anime. The first series aired in the late 1970s, and there have been many sequels and spin-offs produced since, with some even being made to this very day.
そうだよ。
僕の分も買っといて。
わかった。
おいおい、お前たち何を言っているんだ。同人誌ならば虎の穴が目の前にあるではないか。
Daru and Mayuri stare at me blankly.
目の前ってどこ？
Uh-oh.
いや、目の前は目の前だ。あそこに。
I follow my pointing finger. Tora... Oh, goodness. Tora no Ana isn't there.
俺
Yeah, and weren't there more advertisements with characters and things? Not characters like writing. Characters as in like cartoon characters or anime in this instance. Or am I imagining things? I rub my eyes and blink several times. It doesn't help. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. I check up and down the street, but no, it's nowhere to be found. And what's more, I can't find Animate either. It's supposed to be right next to Tora no Ana. Instead, I see electronics stores. Daiichi Kaden and T21 Minami. Never seen them before in my life. Wait. I remember Mr. Braun saying that Akiba used to have a lot more electronics shops. Many of them were closed. I think Daiichi Kaden and T21 Minami were among them.
虎の穴もアニメイトも一体どこ行ったのだ。
Okay, we very clearly changed something where, okay, we know that Akiha, Faris, said that she was actually in a lot of, meetings as she was when she was younger, and she's the one that pushed for the sort of, what was the term used? Otaku culture, all that sort of stuff. I believe she said she pushed for it and helped make Akiba what it was today. Or how it was yesterday. So... Yeah, okay, so, theory right now, running theory, her dad was dead. She sent something that changed the course of history where her father's alive. And he's still in charge or something. I mean, maybe that's why. Maybe it's because he wasn't around that she was able to get involved with you know, her family's wealth and control of this area. Or maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be that he's dead, but just that he's no longer involved. Something like that, maybe? Well, clearly, whatever has changed, it involved Ferris's influence on Akiba. Whether her father is involved in that or not, Ferris, for whatever reason, was not able or did not want to push her vision for Akiba here.
それはひょっとしてギャグで言っているのか？
は？
秋葉には虎の穴もアニメイトもないよ。だからマユシーは中野まで同人誌を買いに行くのです。
ないって、どういうことだ？昨日までは普通にあったよな。
What about earlier today? I wasn't really paying attention on the way to Ferris's apartment, but I'm pretty sure they were still there.
だからないって。そもそもそういう萌えショップが秋葉にあるわけないじゃん。萌えの聖地といえば中野だろ、上皇。
秋葉の方が萌えの聖地としては世界規模で有名ではないか。
ついに暑さでおかしくなったか、オカリン。秋葉は電気街。萌えショップができようもんならマニアどもが暴動を起こすレベルだお。
This feeling again. Dissonance. My memories don't match reality. The past has changed. Part of me knows what has happened. But I still can't help but ask.
マンダル家は？
ないよ。
秋葉王？
それは普通にあるっしょ。
同人誌を売ってる秋葉王国のことだ。
なんぞそれ。
秋葉王で同人誌が売ってるの？
それはないわ。いくらなんでも無理があるわ。
ゲーマーズは？ラムタラは？
They shake their heads.
メロンブックスは？アソビットシティは？
They look confused. So basically, I swallow hard. I finally understand. It's hard to believe, but I must face the truth.
この街の混沌が薄らいでいる。
Every last store that sold anime, eroge, or moe goods has disappeared from Akiba. Wow, that's like an apocalypse, man. What are you gonna do now? In a final desperate attempt to deny reality, I run to May Queen plus Nyan Squared, the maid cafe where Mayuri and Ferris work, and which Daru and I frequent. Yeah, I mean, Ferris was still doing the cat thing, so was Mayuri, so you'd think... Uh-oh. But upon arriving at the storefront, I am forced to my knees in abject defeat.
ない。
It's all gone. It's not just the moe stores. Even the maid cafes have disappeared.
マユリ、お前メイクインで働いていたよな。
メイクインって何かな？じゃがいも？
メイクインニャンニャンだ。
I asked Daru too, but no reaction.
マユシーがバイトしてるのはルモアンヌだよ。
ルモアンヌ？
Lemoine.
それはメイド喫茶か？
普通の喫茶店。
秋葉にはメイド喫茶は一軒もないのか？
ねえよ。秋葉に来る人間はそういう萌えビジネスとか毛嫌いしてんだから誰も寄りつかないって。
I was gonna ask something like, well, why are you here then? But I mean, I guess they both go to school here, so it was just a sort of happy coincidence that, you know, all their interests sort of aligned in this area. But now it's just, I guess it's just the school, and they, you know, all the rest of the stuff is gone. It's clear now. This has to be the result of Ferris's D-mail. The butterfly effect is at it again. Ferris said she had influence over Akiba's development board. They adopted her plan and embraced the Moe industry. But by sending a D-mail to 2000, the world line has shifted to one where that never happened. Akiba is still electronics all the way. The world line has shifted to 1. How to interpret this? Okay. To think that a single male could rewrite 10 years of a town's history. Is it okay to change history on a whim like this? I would say no, personally, but you know, I'm not in charge here. I almost feel guilty about it, but since I'm the only one who remembers the original Akiba, nobody can blame me. That's weird too. That's what I was trying to say a bit earlier. You know, he's going to be the only one stuck with the memories of what's changed. You know. So you know he could end up in a situation where he's changed something horrible. Like, again, let's go with my thought that, let's say the dad died and is now alive. You know, well, that's in one sense it's good. It's good for Ferris. Her dad's alive, and it's clear that she loves him. But imagine the situation in reverse. What if he's in a situation where he causes the death of people, or some sort of terrible thing that we can't imagine, and yet he's the only one stuck remembering it, you know? And imagine how many times that we could potentially go through something like that. I mean, this could very quickly spiral out of control if we're not careful here. For him, personally. I don't know about everyone else. Because they would remember the change. And it's not like I can change it back. Yeah, that's another... Again, I think if it's multiple timelines or a single timeline, I don't think there's I think there's always hope that we could reverse the changes, or in multiple timeline case, go back to our original timeline. But in both cases, we would need to know a lot more about time travel than we currently do. Like, we're still stuck on sending just packets of data, 36 bytes. So, and we still can't even figure out what changes those cause. Or we can't even measure it. So, that's looking... The prospect of being able to change it back or return to what we once knew, that's a pretty far hope right now. But still, what in the world did Ferris's D-mail say? Well, that was a pretty clean break there with that scene. I'm thinking... And this is the next day, too, wasn't it? You know what? I'm thinking I might call it there today. Maybe short episode. Well, not today. I'm going to actually continue recording, but for my own purposes, I'm going to call it there for this episode and then start a new one. That just feels a bit better for me. Because we're going to be starting a whole new scene here, and who knows how long that's going to last. So, yeah, we'll call it there. I mean, I think I went over everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah, it's interesting. the change of Lukaku with Lukaku, that's still obscure, but whatever the change was, it seems pretty minor in comparison to what we've just done here. Where, as he just said, 10 years of history for an entire town has shifted. Now that's definitely a lot, because you'd have to think, just the type of people that come here now are going to be an entirely different set of people. All the otaku and all that sort of thing. So that'd be pretty freaky. All the familiar sights and all the familiar people you normally see are just going to be gone and replaced with a different set of people. Yeah. All right. Well, next time we're gonna deal with this, I guess. We still need to find the IBN. I don't even know if the deal with Ferris is still on. I don't know if she's gonna be searching for it. Although, actually, this might help us in a sense, because we're looking for an IBN 5100, and now this whole area is an electronics hub. So maybe our task has just been made a lot easier. That could be something. Who knows? Maybe Moeka has already found one in this world line. Okay, well, I'll call it there. I hope you're all doing well. I've been the Warm. This has been Steins Gate, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.